While using Microsoft Excel, you might find yourself doing very repetitive tasks on a daily basis. These repetitive tasks can feel like a very boring chore, right? But the good news is that Microsoft Excel can automate these boring tasks for us using macros. And trust me, it's a pretty straightforward process to learn, and it doesn't even require any programming. So let's get ready to Excel. All right, so let's pretend you receive a daily Excel file. The data is in raw format, meaning just plain numbers and words, like the data you see here. And every day, you must format this raw data into a more presentable way so you can submit it to top management. For example, you turn this raw data into something like this. And to complete this transformation and formatting look, you need to do many steps on this raw data. So instead of repeating all these steps on the raw data each and every day, it will be much more efficient if we can just press one button and poof, the data is formatted in the way you want it. This is exactly what macros do for us in Excel. And just to be clear again, there is no program required to accomplish this because we will be recording macros and we will not be writing any code. Recording macros allows us to record all our steps in the Excel file, so when we run the macro again, it does whatever was recorded in that macro. I'll show you examples so you can follow along with everything that I'm talking about here. And I also think that if you haven't used the record macro feature before, you will have an aha moment when you watch this video and understand how it works. Actually, if you would be so kind, please do tell me in the comments below if you did experience any aha moments or oh wow moment while watching this video. So to record a macro, there are three ways to go about it. The quickest way is to click on this little icon at the bottom left. When I hover over it with my mouse, it says, no macros are currently recording. Click to begin recording a new macro. So that's the easiest and quickest way to start recording a macro, from this button right here. The second easiest way is to click on the View tab up here. Then in the far right, click on the down arrow just below macros, and then click on Record Macro. And finally, the third way to record a macro is from the Developer tab. However, I don't see a Developer tab above my ribbon. You see, by default, this Developer tab is not added to our tabs because it's mostly used for people who want to program with Excel using VBA, which stands for Visual Basic for Applications. And since most Excel users are not programmers, then this tab is not available by default. But just for your information, it may be added by either right-clicking in the ribbon, then choosing Customize the ribbon. Then on the right side, you can see the tabs, and down here is the Developer tab, and it's currently not checked. If you do check it, it will appear next to your other tabs. However, I won't add it for this video as I won't be doing any programming, and we already found two other easier ways to record macros without adding this Developer tab. Alright, I'll go ahead and click on the Record Macro icon at the bottom left corner here, and now I see the Record Macro dialog box. Here I can give my macro a name, which can be almost anything, but the name cannot contain a space or be the same name of another existing macro. Then you can also create a shortcut key combination, and you can also give it an optional description. So let me call this macro recording tutorial. And for my shortcut key, I don't want to use a plain Control plus another letter combination because most of these letter shortcuts are taken up by the computer. For example, I can't use Control C because that's reserved for a copy. So I'll make mine something different, like Control plus Shift plus the letter Q. To do that, I just need to press and hold the Shift key and then hit the letter Q, and now I have a shortcut key combination. And for my description, it's my friendly advice to write something so you can know what this macro does. So for this example, I'll type format raw daily quantity data and create a customized bar chart. Now I'll click on OK, and now the macro will start to record any step I do to this Excel data. You can also see that the Record Macro button has changed to Stop Recording. which is an indication that the macro is now recording my steps. And please do also note that the recording is just recording steps without any attention to the time it takes for you to record these steps. For example, it might take you an hour just to get this raw data to the way you want it to look. And when you run the macro at a later time on another set of raw data, it will only take a second or two. So again, we're only recording the steps without any regards to the time it takes to do these steps. Alright, so I'll start by formatting this raw data. First, I'll make the column headers stand out by formatting them using the heading 1 style. I'll also select all these cells here and make them all center aligned. Then I'll make the columns wide enough to display the header names. Then I'll make the product names bold. Then I'll create a column chart that shows the item number and their quantities. So I'll highlight these two columns, then click on the Insert tab, then choose the first 2D column chart. Now let me move this chart to here. Then I'll rename the chart title to Daily Quantity. Then I'll change the chart style to this. Then I'll remove the y-axis display values. Then I'll click on the plus sign here and go to Data Labels and then click on Inside End. So the values now show up inside the columns, which I personally think looks better. And finally, let me just expand this chart. And since I'm done with my steps, I can now stop the macro recording by clicking on the stop icon down here. So I just demonstrated a few sample steps, and all these steps have been recorded into this macro. And now, let's pretend it's Monday, and I got the same data file again, and I need to apply the same steps quickly. So let me go to my Monday sheet. I see the same raw data as before. And the quickest way to run my macro is to use the shortcut key combination that I assigned to this macro, which, if you remember, was the Control plus Shift plus the letter Q combination. So here we go, and voila. All the steps I recorded in this macro are applied right away. My data is formatted, and a column chart is created for me in just a quick second. And now, the next working day comes along, and when I get the data file, I can do the same thing. But let me show you another way to run the macro. All I have to do is click on the View tab up here, then click on the Macros button, then choose the macro that I want to run. Then press Run, and voila again, all the steps that are recorded in this macro are applied right away with just one click of a button. How cool is that? So I ask you guys again, any aha moment? If so, please do share it in the comments below. Now, if you're interested in the behind-the-scenes stuff of the macro we just recorded, you can click on the Macros button, then choose the macro you want to look into, then click on Edit. This will bring up VBA, which again stands for Visual Basic for Applications. This is the programming side of macros. But as you saw throughout this video, we didn't need any programming skills for the purpose of recording a macro. But if you're interested in more complex use of macros that does involve programming, please do leave me a comment below, and I'll be more than happy to make another video on the topic of your request. Now there are two more things I wanted to show you as well regarding this video. When you save an Excel file that contains macros, you must save it as an Excel macro enabled workbook. So I'll click on Save here, then I must choose the right file type, and notice the file extension is a bit different because now it's XLSM instead of just XLS or XLSX, and the M in XLSM stands for macros. The second and final thing I wanted to show you is when I close this file and reopen it, I will get a warning message. This is just a security precaution to let you know that this file has macros in it, and if you want to enable it, you simply click on the Enable Content button. And if you get this message, it's up to you to trust this file for future use or not. Well, that was all you needed to know about recording macros in Excel. And we were able to use macros without any programming. I also hope you can see the unlimited options available to you in recording macros and how much of a time saver macros can be for any Excel users. And as always, if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, and click the bell icon. Thank you for watching.